the next question, we're trying to find the slope of a line, and the easiest way to do this from the equation is just to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, because once it's written in the form y equals, we'll be able to identify the slope in the y-intercept from the numbers on the right-hand side. So we have to be careful here, but we're trying to solve this for y. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides first. So I'll think of that as adding negative 6x to both sides. I'm going to do it that way so I have my x first and my non-x second, because I know that's what my slope-intercept form is going to look like. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1/5. On this side, multiplying by negative 1/5 will give me just y. Over here, I'll have negative 1/5 times negative 6x minus 4. Oops, run out of room. And so I'll rewrite that as y equals, so negative 1/5 times negative 6 is positive 6/5 x. And of course I can do the rest of it, but I know that that's going to be the answer. The answer I want is the slope, and so that means the slope is 6/5. So since it's not asking for more than that, I'm kind of wasting time doing more than that. But if I did want to finish, I would say negative 1/5 times negative 4 is positive 4/5. So this is the equivalent equation. This is also the equation of the same line, but this is written in slope-intercept form. And so from that, I can read off that my slope is 6/5 and that my y-intercept is what's the point, 0, 4/5. Comes from here. Okay, the next problem, we're trying to draw a graph. And this is already written in slope-intercept form, so I can read the relevant values off. So there's really two different ways to do this. One way is knowing that 2 points determine a line, and so really I could just plot any 2 points and then connect them. So one point that's very easy to plot is the y-intercept. That is, when you make x equals 0, you can figure out what the y is going to be equal to. But if x equals 0, y equals negative 3. So that's this number right here is always the y-intercept. So I can always just do that. And then since the graph of this is going to be a straight line, I can really just plot any other point. So if you want to give yourself a little bit of room, maybe you let x equal 3 just to see what's going to happen. If x equals 3, then y, again, I'm just putting 3 in for x here. 2 times 3 is 6, minus 3 is 3. So if x is 3, then y is 3. And so I can just plot a point here. And once I have 2 points, I know that I can just connect them. Well, maybe I can. Just connect it to the straight line. In the computer world, I'll just kind of cheat and move it down like that. But my graph should look something like that. The other way to think about this is once you've determined that your y-intercept is here, that's super easy, then you could just follow up to other points using the slope. Remember, the slope is 2. That means that for every 1 over, so that way, go up 2. So the slope is how much your y changes for every 1 that your x changes. And so if I do that, I can see that going over 1 up 2 puts me here. Going over 1 up 2 puts me here. Over 1 up 2 puts me here. So I could just follow that over 1 up 2 that I get from the slope until I've got a few points that I can then draw a straight line. So either way is fine. This is actually probably smarter, just plotting a few points and knowing the general shape. But it is good to know that this is how slope can be interpreted graphically. Number 8 is just a straight up solution to an equation, so this is fairly easy. We want to just simplify both left and right hand side before we start collecting terms. So 7y plus 28 is what I get on the left side from the distributive property. 8y plus 88 is what I get on the right side. Subtract 7y from both sides seems to make sense. So on the left hand side I'll have 28 is equal to y plus 88. And then I can just subtract 88 from both sides. I'll have negative 60 on the left equals y. So my answer is negative 60. It's not crazy to check this, because this is a nice whole number, so it's easy to check. On the left-hand side, I have 7 times negative 60 plus 4 is negative 56. And I'm seeing if that's equal to 8 times negative 60 plus 11 is negative 49. So you definitely want to use a calculator to check that, but what you'll find is that that is actually right. And so y equals negative 60 is the correct solution to this equation. For this problem, we're trying to find x and y intercepts, and most of the line is not written in slope-intercept form, so there's a little bit of work involved, but not really too much. The key is that your y-intercept happens when x equals 0. So to find your y-intercept, you're going to let x equal 0 in this equation, and then figure out what y is. So if x is 0, the equation is 0 plus 5y equals negative 90. You divide both sides by 5, or multiply both sides by 1/5, and you'll get that when x is 0, y is negative 18. And so that is your y-intercept, so that'll be a point, 0. We're going to write your answers as points. So 0 for x, negative 18 for y. And then similarly, to find your x-intercept, it's just exactly the dual thing. Instead of x being 0, you're going to start with y being 0. That's going to make the equation say negative 6x plus 0 equal negative 90. If I multiply both sides by negative 1/6, or divide both sides by negative 6, I'll get x equal positive 15. And so again, as a point, the y-coordinate is 0, the x-coordinate is 15. So my x-intercept is 15, 0. And then finally, here I'm trying to write an equation of a line. I always start with point-slope form because that's easy. So point-slope form is y minus whatever y I'm given is equal to the slope times x minus whatever x I'm given. So that's a very easy way to build a valid equation of a line. Y minus the given y equals slope times x minus the given x. We do want this to be in slope-intercept form, so that means I want to solve for y. I want it to look like that. And that's just a matter of first simplifying the right side by distributing minus 5 times x and minus 5 times minus 4, and then add 2 to both sides. Again, it's easy to check because I can know my slope-intercept form, that's my slope, so it's definitely negative 5. And then the question, does it go through that point? That's easy to just stick 4 in for x and then see if 2 comes out for y, and you'll see that it does.